point that as Prime Minister and Head of Government, Mr. Andrew Holness has a higher duty to the public to ensure that the laws of Jamaica are maintained and that he acts in keeping with the standards of principled behavior required of his very high office. I'm sad to say, and I take no glee in saying this, that Mr. Holness has failed in this solemn duty to the Jamaican people. He has known since May 2023.
Hold off. From when you say him no, Mark? From when you say him no?
May 2023.
I want to make sure I hear you right, so say it one more time, please. Say it one more time.
May 2023.
Yes, I thought that was what you said. That Andrew Holness knew from May 2023. But what was it that he knew? Let's continue to listen.
That he was under investigation for illicit enrichment.
So just to be clear here, you are saying that Andrew Holness knew that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment from as far back as May of 2023. And that is what you're telling us. The report, the Integrity Commission report is saying that they informed Andrew Holness in May of 2023 that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment. That's what you're saying, right? And that's what you read in the report. Yes, that's what he said. We will check it out though, not to worry, but let us continue to listen in the meanwhile.
Which is a corruption offense created by Section 14.5 of the Corruption Prevention Act. Yes, Mr. Holness is one of the illicit 6, now the illicit 8, and he has known this for well over a year. Yet Mr. Holness misled the country by withholding the truth about this investigation in statements that he made both in and outside Parliament over this period, even telling Jamaica that he had asked far and wide, and none of his MPs were under investigation for illicit enrichment. This extended withholding of the truth, this fundamentally dishonest deception of the people of Jamaica obliterates any trust and confidence in the Prime Minister. How can we believe anything he says in light of the extended failure to tell us the truth that he was indeed under investigation for a serious criminal offense? This unprecedented situation is fundamentally incompatible with his continuing to hold office as Prime Minister.
But Mark, you know easy, you know. Everything you just said about Andrew Holness applies to you. From 2007 until 2024. Is how much years that, Mark? 17 years? Yes, for 17 years you hid the fact that you are a British citizen carrying a British passport, which means under the law that you are under an acknowledgement of allegiance to a foreign power. And you are therefore sitting in our parliament illegally since 2007. Even today, you continue to sit in our parliament. You claim that you have renounced your British citizenship, but that does not fix the problem, Mark, that you were ineligible at the time when you were elected to the parliament. You were ineligible to be nominated in August of 2020. So you are illegal in our parliament. And you hid that fact until we here exposed you that you are a British citizen by descent through your father. It was we who exposed you here. And others took it and run far and wide because they have a bigger audience. Up to this day, you sit on our parliament, and that has not been cured. And you are there talking about the Prime Minister. It is untenable for him to remain as Prime Minister because you claim, you say so, no, he knew from May of 2023 that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment. The first thing we need to ask ourselves, is that true? But we will come to that. In the meanwhile, you have asked a legitimate question. You have asked, how can we believe anything he says in light of the extended failure to tell us the truth that he was indeed under investigation for a serious criminal offense? You don't really believe those words, Mark. You're just putting them out there because you want to score some cheap political points, right? You don't believe that. Because if that is what you believe, and therefore believe Andrew Holness should step aside, the question I should ask you is, why are you still there? Because when you withheld the information, a fundamental information, that you occupy a position looking to become Prime Minister, and hid the fact that you're a dual citizen contrary to the constitution of this land, carrying a British passport, you failed to tell the people that for 17 years we had to find out through investigation. How can anybody believe anything that you are saying? And I should tell the public, do not believe anything that he said. Yes, take his advice. Don't believe anything that comes out of the mouth of Mark Golding. Just as he refers to Andrew Holness' alleged knowledge of when he knew that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment, just as he refers to this as fundamental dishonest deception, so was his hiding of the fact that he was a dual citizen and illegal in our parliament for 17 years a fundamental dishonest deception. And therefore, the same remedy that he applies to Andrew Holness, that he should step aside, is the same remedy that must apply to himself. When are we going to get his resignation? Set the example, Mark. Set the example. Show the people of Jamaica, Mark Golding, that you believe that anybody holding a high office in this country who fundamentally and dishonestly deceive the people, that they should step aside. Show us, Mark, that you really believe it, and step aside for your own fundamentally dishonest deception of the people of Jamaica, and for your own disrespect and disregard for the constitution of this land, the highest law of the land, by sitting in the parliament knowing that you're illegal in there. Step aside. But you're not going to do that, are you? No, we're going to have to carry you to court and force you out. At least somebody will have to. So you continue to sit there. And as I said before, Mark, this message is not for you. When it comes to honesty and probity, this is not a message for you. You're not the right messenger. So we need not pay any attention to you. What we're going to do now is get to the facts. But before I do so, let me give you my customary welcome. It's a bit late, but we had to get things off our chest. Yes, we had plenty of things on our chest when we heard those words coming from a hypocrite of no mean order and a pretender. Yes. So let me welcome you to Jamaica 411, where lies die and truth prevails. Thank you so much for joining me, keeping me company as usual. If you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome. Please subscribe, share, and give the video a thumbs up if you like it. For my regular viewers and my many subscribers, welcome back. So great to have you. I love to see in my analytics in YouTube, I look and I see my subscribers watching. I say, things are going for me. Yes, man, me like that. So thank you so much for that. And you know the routine. You want to give the video a thumbs up from now, because believe me, when you hear what it is I have for you today, you won't have no time to do any such thing. So go ahead and give the video a thumbs up from now. And of course, I thank you in advance. So in order now to get to this business about what it was that Andrew Holness knew and when he knew it, and did he know from May of 2023 that he was under investigation for illicit enrichment by the Integrity Commission, we now repair to that report that Mark Golding was reading from, and I was reading from, and so is everybody and his wife and husband. And we're going to see if what Mark Golding said was true. Now, in the Integrity Commission report, they had given us a timeline for the investigation, which commenced May 5, 2023, and not that 2022 you see there. That's a mistake. So the investigation began in May. We're going to be looking now for when it was that Holness was told that the investigation was for illicit enrichment. All right. So as you can see, the investigation for illicit enrichment actually began May 5, 2023. You see it says there at the top that referral received from the commissioners pursuant to Section 14.5 of the CPA, that's the Corruption Prevention Act. Let's see what that is. So this is 14.5 of the Corruption Prevention Act. It says, where a public servant owns assets disproportionate to his lawful earnings, and upon being requested by the Commission or any person duly authorized to investigate an allegation of corruption against him, to provide an explanation as to how he came by such assets, he fails to do so or gives an explanation which is not considered to be satisfactory, he shall be liable to prosecution for the offense of illicit enrichment, and on conviction thereof to the penalties specified in Section 15.1. So there is no doubt about it. The Director of Information is reporting here that the referral from the commissioners was pursuant to Section 14.5 of the Corruption Prevention Act, which is dealing with public servants who may be engaged in illicit enrichment. So that's what that investigation was about. As for 43.2a, you will remember that is to do with making false statement on the declaration. And in this case, for the second time, Andrew Holness was being cited for making false statements on his declaration by omission when they found that he had 4 additional accounts, bank accounts, with his name on it. Those accounts, you remember, are the accounts for his parents, who added his name to their accounts when he was underage, and also the other one was for a constituent. So he was being investigated for illicit enrichment and making false statement by omission on his statutory declaration. So now we're going to be looking at the timeline itself. So on the 3rd of May 2023, according to the Director of Investigation, he was referred by the Commission this matter for investigation. He sent a letter to Andrew Holness advising him of the referral received for investigation, and that took place May 5, 2023. He sent a letter to Andrew Holness informing him about the referral that he received from the commissioners that he's to commence investigation. Right? Did he tell him in May at this time what he was investigating him for? Let us continue and we will find out soon enough. Then now, as you can see, the investigator sent out a second letter, May 26, 2023. What did he send out that letter for? According to this, he was providing Andrew Holness with an update on the investigation. So first, May 5, he sent out an investigation to tell him that, look, we can't certify you yet, because we got another referral in and we are going to investigate you. He didn't say that he told him what for. That was May 5. 21 days later, he sent another letter to Andrew Holness giving him update on the investigation. That's what this says. And as you can see, between May 26 and June 2, he was requesting Section 48 notices from a variety of financial institutions. Several of the requests from NCB, you have NCB Matilda's Corner, you have Barita Investments. They sent out Section 48 notice to the company's office and to the Tax Administration Jamaica National Motor Vehicle Registry, as well as the National Land Agency. That's what he was doing from the time when he contacted the Prime Minister to give him an update until June 2. He was asking for these witness statements to be provided by these various entities. As you can see here, there is nothing to say that he had contacted the Prime Minister in that time period. As you can see, from June 9 until June 20, they began to receive these witness statements from the various entities that they had requested them from, and no reference here that he had contacted the Prime Minister to give him any update or for any other reason. You can see for yourself, and you can pause and you can read and just be sure that I did not make a mistake. So far we have established that yes, the Director of Investigations did contact the Prime Minister twice in May. What it was about, the first communication was to tell him that there's an investigation. The second one to give him an update. What? Whether or not he was told at that time that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment, that now we do not know yet. So let us persevere and see if it will eventually bear fruit. So here we go, some contacts. So on June 20, 2023, this is saying that a letter dated June 20, 2023 from the attorney representing Mr. Holness was received by the Director of Investigation concerning the investigation. So the lawyer wanted to know what the hell going on. We need something. We needed to tell us what's happening. Now, on the 28th, 8 days later, the letter sent to Mr. Holness by the Director of Investigation provided an update on the investigation. It never said what that was. Okay? So that was June 28th. Good. So let us count now. So in May, he wrote letters to the Prime Minister twice. And in June, the letter from the attorney prompted him to send an update to the Prime Minister by way of writing. So that's 3 contacts now, all right? So eventually on the 19th of July, a letter was sent to Mr. Holness by the Director of Investigation inviting him to an interview on August 23, 2023 at 10 a.m. See that? August 23, 2023. And that letter went out July 19, 2023. Never said what it was about, just that he would have liked to give him a little talk, you know? So that now was the 4th letter sent by the Director of Investigation to the Prime Minister. All right, be keeping up now. Keep up with me now, you know, man. Don't lose me. 16 days after that request, on August 4, 2023, the Director of Investigations received a letter by email from Holness's attorney in response to his invitation on the 19th for an interview. The attorney indicated that August 23, 2023 was not a convenient time for Mr. Holness to be interviewed by the Director of Investigation. I made a little proposal of timelines that would, fit into his schedule, because he's Prime Minister and busy all over the place doing all sorts of things, right? And the Labourites, I'm sure, will tell you in the comment section what he would have been doing at that time. But let us continue. So he proposed September 1, 4, 5, or 6 of 2023 as days that could work for him. So that was August 4 that contact was made. Now remember now, it's July 19 that the letter was sent out asking the Prime Minister to meet August 23. You see the date? Please make a note now. Get your pen and paper anytime you listen to 411, because you know you're going to get some homework to do. So write it down, August 23. Make a note of it. Very important. Then, of course, 5 days later, the Director of Investigation responded in writing, and he said that he's confirming interview date of August 31, 2023, which is convenient for him, if that is all right with them. And possibility is that they would reserve September 1, 2023, if he can't make it then. The time for the interview was to be 10 a.m. and the venue was the Integrity Commission's office. The confirmation was required by August 15, 2023. While this interchange went on between the Director of Investigations and the attorney for Andrew Holness, he continued to do his investigations. He was still sending out Section 48 notices, requesting witness statements to a variety of institutions into some accounts. So anyway, on the 14th of August, the day before it was due, a letter was received via email from Mr. Holness's attorney confirming attendance at the interview scheduled for August 31, 2023, and requesting that the interview be held at the office of the Prime Minister instead of the Integrity Commission. And then the DI responded the same day and indicated he will provide response by August 16 to that request to meet instead at the Prime Minister's office. So on August 16, as promised, the Director of Investigation did send to the attorney the confirmation of the date. It's just a matter now of the venue. So you can see there was no question of any discussion about what the meeting will be about here, nor in the other correspondence between the investigator and the lawyer. Now I want you to pay particular attention to August 18, 2023, 2 days after the Director of Investigation responded to the letter of August 14, setting out the time and date for the interview, and that he said that he was going to write back to them concerning their request for a change of venue. That's what he said on the 16th of August. 2 days later, letter dispatched to Mr. Holness's attorney conveying Section 14.5 CPA or judge's rule notice and issues or questions to be explored in the interview. You hear that? 2 days after this conversation, the Director of Investigations dispatched a letter to the attorney for Mr. Holness, and in that letter, he conveyed to them that Section 14.5 of the Corruption Prevention Act will be explored. And remember what 14.5 is about? Illicit enrichment. So that was a letter that he sent to the attorney, telling him that we are going to be exploring the issue of illicit enrichment. And he also invoked the judge's notice, which KD Knight nicely told us meant that it was a kind of a caution. You must come with your attorney, and anything that you say may be written down and used against you in court. If me understand what KD was saying, him read him in writes. This seems to be saying also that he had included in that dispatch the issues or questions to be explored. So he must have given them a list of questions that they need to respond to. That is good because it saves time. They can go do them research and come with them answers, right? So that was done on August 18, 2023. Make note of that date. So let us now go and see now what exactly was in that letter that was sent to Andrew Holness on August 18. And for that, we need to go to the Integrity Commission's report. But before we get to the Integrity Commission's report, let us remind ourselves of something that Mark said.
He has known since May 2023 that he was under investigation for illicit enrichment. Yet Mr. Holness misled the country by withholding the truth about this investigation. In statements that he made both in and outside Parliament over this period, even telling Jamaica that he had asked far and wide, and none of his MPs were under investigation for illicit enrichment.
So let us now turn to what it was that Andrew Holness had said about far and wide. He checked and none of his MPs were involved. And let us check to see when he said it. For that, we now go to the Gleaner. As the headline says, Holness pulls up empty net in search for MPs under probe. And let me show you the date because it's a bit fine print. Let me show you the date when this was published. Now, as you can see, the Gleaner's reporting this as published Friday, August 18, 2023 at 12:10 a.m. Let me read it for you again. It was published Friday, August 18, 2023, just a little bit after midnight. Okay? Now, you will recall that that letter that was sent to the attorney of Andrew Holness was sent on the 18th of August as well. But it could not have been sent midnight, right? So it was sent sometime during the day of August 18, informing him of what they intend to discuss in the August 31st meeting that was confirmed and arranged at that time, and that the scope of the discussion involved illicit enrichment. That was August 18, sometime during the day that was published. But on the 18th of August 2023, the Gleaner is telling us that this information was published on the Friday, August 18. But when did he actually say it? According to the Gleaner report, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says consultations with government lawmakers to ascertain whether they are being investigated by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment has elicited a negative response. I have asked as far and as wide, and I haven't got that response from anyone. But as far as I have been told, no. Holness told journalists as he toured the Clarendon Northern constituency on Thursday. Now remember this came out the Friday, you know. So the Thursday they must have been reporting on was the day before. And what was the day before? The 17th of August. So the 17th of August, Andrew Holness said this, and it was reported, and the Gleaner took the story and published it the following morning early. And Holness went on to say, according to the report in the Gleaner, people have been written to, as the Integrity Commission does almost every day, but I have not heard of anyone in my political party being written to for this matter of illicit enrichment. You heard what he said? He said people have been written to. Yes, he was one of them that was being written to. And he must have heard of other persons in the party being written to. Almost every day. Almost every day somebody's getting something from the Integrity Commission. They're very busy. Right? But I have not heard of anyone in my political party being written to for this matter of illicit enrichment. He added, he called the pronouncements by the parliamentary opposition that they have not been contacted by the IC as political gimmickry. You hear that? Can you imagine his shock? Can you imagine Andrew shock when him see the letter come to him, said I'm investigating for illicit enrichment? And the very day too, after him said what him said in Northern Clarendon. And it was this remark that Mark Golding was referring to. This took place the 17th of August 2023. But the question still remains. Did Andrew Holness know before that? Did he know? And we are now going to go to the Integrity Commission's report, and they are going to tell us when Andrew Holness knew for the first time that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment. So, subparagraph E of paragraph 5.95. This is what the investigator said. The DI reiterates his inability to proceed with illicit enrichment calculations in respect of Mr. Holness's assets, liabilities, and income given, the unresolved questions around connected companies, and the absence of a schedule of his personal expenses over the period. Mr. Holness was requested to provide this information by May 31, 2024. Mr. Holness, however, in the written submission dated July 16, 2024, indicated the following. On the advice of my attorneys at law, I have complied with Section 39(1) of the Integrity Commission Act by submitting the required information in the form of Third Schedule Part A. This was done when I filed my 2021 previous and subsequent declarations. Further, subject to the objections sent by my attorneys at law for your attention, I have responded to the questions that have been asked pursuant to the investigation commenced on the 26th of April, 2023. I adopt and incorporate herein all of the objections, including that at the commencement of the investigations pursuant to Section 14(5), no allegation of corruptions was put to me. In addition, I was not told, nor was it established, that my assets are disproportionate to my lawful earnings. In response to the inquiry as to the reason the matter was referred to investigation, I was told that some new matters had arisen. However, I was never told what those new matters are. You hear what the attorney is saying? Up till now, you haven't told me what you're investigating me for. Basically, that is what the attorney is saying. He also said he was never told that his assets were disproportionate to his lawful earnings. That's why I'm saying I was never told that, nor was it established to be true. But the Integrity Commission made their own responses. So let us now read what they said. And now at last we've come to the meat of the matter. Having regard to Mr. Holness's response above, the Director of Investigation highlights hereunder a few paragraphs from a notice dated August 18, 2023. You remember that one? Yes. Which was served on him during the course of the investigation. All right, during the course of the investigation, it was served on him. Let us see when that was. Let us read what the notice says. Take notice that the Integrity Commission is investigating the statutory declaration submitted by you for the year 2021 to determine inter alia whether there are reasonable grounds to suspect that you have contravened Section 14(5) of the Corruption Prevention Act, Section 43(2) of the Integrity Commission Act, or any other enactment, and whether recommendations ought to be made hereafter referred to as the investigation. Take further notice that the Commission, from the proceeds of its investigation so far, has determined that you own assets disproportionate to your lawful earnings insofar as have been declared by you. Consequent on the foregoing, you are invited to attend on the Integrity Commission at first floor, and they give the address, right? On Thursday, the 31st of August 2023 at 10 a.m. to be interviewed for the purpose of providing an explanation to the Director of Investigation, Mr. Kevin Stevenson, and or his designate for the purpose of answering questions concerning the investigation. Did you notice the date of the interview? He said here, on Thursday, the 31st of August 2023 at 10 a.m. Remember that. You remember when that arrangement was made? Well, let us take a look at the timeline again. Here it is on July 19, 2023. Letter sent to Mr. Holness by the Director of Investigation inviting him to an interview on August 23, 2023. So it's August 23, and that invitation was sent to him July 19. And as you can see by the same timeline, on the 4th of August, Holness's attorney wrote back indicating that August 23 was not a convenient time for Mr. Holness and asked if he would postpone it to a later date. The DI responded on the 9th of August that confirming interview date of August 31, 2023. What a damn good thing them had this conversation. Because if they didn't, we would have believed that the notice had gone out on July 19. But evidently it had not gone out. It was just an invitation. The men then haggled about the time when they're going to have the interview, and it was finalized. On August 14, they finalized that time and confirmed. The only thing left now was for the investigator to determine whether they're going to be meeting at the Prime Minister's office or the Integrity Commission's office. 2 days later, on the 16th of August, the Director of Investigation responded to the letter of August 14, setting out the time of the interview and indicating that further response will be provided concerning the request for a change of venue. Nothing finalized yet. It was on the 18th that the letter was sent now to Mr. Holness's attorney, conveying Section 14.5 CPA, Corruption Prevention Act, or judge's rule notice, and issues or questions to be explored in the interview. August 18 was when that letter was sent out. And what was in that letter again? According to the investigator in the integrity report, it said, according to him, not me so, that having regard to Mr. Holness's response above, the DI highlights hereunder a few paragraphs from a notice dated August 18, 2023. So he's saying that this notice telling him that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment was sent to him August 18, 2023, the very day after he made the comment that he made. If this notice had gone out before, the investigator would have sent him that notice. But he could not find in his record that he had actually told Holness that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment. That's why I draw for this one, because this was the only time that he was told that. So no Mark, no Katie, no Donna, no, we love you to pieces, Donna, over here in the resistance, yes. And we love KD too, Never mind the criticism. We love one the same way. But you see that fellow there in the middle of you? Not take tea with Drew, that is. Right? No. It's not true, and it's not fair to say things about people that is not true. You have to withdraw your statements. If you had said so, you have to take it back. Because he did not know that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment. What he probably thought he was being investigated for was leaving off those 4 bank accounts. But the Integrity Commission kept the whole thing close to their chest. As you can well imagine, you don't want no meddling and interference by somebody in such a high position. And to show you that this is the way that the Integrity Commission conducts business, they don't tell you what they're doing until they're ready to tell you what they're doing. We're going to go back to that first investigation in 2022 when they were investigating Holness for having made false statements on his declarations by omission because of those 3 accounts that they found. As you can see, the referral from the Director of Information and Complaints was sent to the commissioners September 30, and they handed it over to the Director of Investigations. He commenced his investigation by sending out a Section 48 notice to First Global Bank. As you look down the line, you will see that there is no indication that he had contacted the Prime Minister between October 21 and November 15 here. And as you can see, up to December 2, he was simply sending out his notices to gather in the information. No indication that he made any contact at all with the Prime Minister from he started his investigation up until December 2. Indeed, the first time you see here that Andrew Holness was contacted by the Director of Investigation was January 10 of 2023. It says, Judges Rule 2 notice was served on Mr. Holness to attend an interview. And that interview took place 2 days after. So what is this telling you? It is telling you that true to form, by their own policy, they investigate first, and when they think they have sufficient information, they contact the individuals and tell them by notice that what it is that they are doing. And I think we are on safe ground that this was the notice, because they called it the Judges Rule notice, right? Judges Rule 2 notice. So they had sent out this similar kind of notice, take note that, and they're telling you what you're being investigated for. This occurred, let's see when they started, September, October, November, December, 4 months after they started their investigation is when Andrew Holness knows that anybody was investigating him. And it would have been the same thing they would have done when they were investigating him for illicit enrichment, as well as making false statements on his declarations by omission when he left off those 4 accounts, the 3 for his parents and the 1 for the constituent. So when Mark Golding told you that Andrew Holness knew that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment, that was not true. Not true at all. He made the comments he made on August 17. The notice came to him the following day. That is what is reported in the Integrity Commission's report. And if Mark Golding had taken the time to read the report, he would have seen it there. But then, what is that to him? That would have been the truth. And we all know that Truth and Mark Golding don't seem to walk down the same street. Anyway, folks, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up. Please share and leave your comments in the comment section and subscribe. So, until next time, do take good care of yourselves and walk good.